world dominated by concrete, properties that offer ample green spaces are true gems. Hello and a very warm welcome to the special series, Your Nature, Your Address by the Hubtown Seasons, a rare gem of serenity, tranquility and greenery. It is a privilege to own a space in this property, an exclusive experience reserved for a very deserving few. And in this episode, we have one such very deserving and special guest. I take great pleasure in extending a warm welcome to our esteemed guest joining us for this insightful episode, Mr. Sriram Venkatasubramanian. Mr. Sriram Venkatasubramanian is a seasoned leader with an exceptional academic foundation, holding an engineering degree from BITS Pilani and a PGDM from one of the most prestigious management institutes of the country, IIM Bengaluru. Mr. Venkatasubramanian carries a wealth of about 28 years of experience in financial services, corporate finance and IT. Presently, the Group CFO of Centrum Group, he has also been associated with numerous prestigious organizations like Aptuit and SR Group in multiple leadership roles spanning business, strategy, finance and technology. Welcome, Sriram.
Thank you.
Welcome to this very special conversation, and I'm so privileged to talk to you about not just your journey in the world of finance, but also your journey into this beautiful property where you own a home, where you've made a home for yourself. So welcome. Let me start by asking you that you're a man of finance. And when we talk about wealth management, when we talk about asset management, we always look at real estate as something where people are divided over whether it is for investment, whether it should be for living, whether it should be for both. So what brought you to this property, whether it was for investment or is it what you're going to call your home for long?
I think it started off as an investment proposition for me. And as a family, we've invested in about 14 odd properties in the last 20 years.
Oh, wow.
We've exited half of them in the last 10 years or so. And so we know the space. We understand the space. In fact, most of my initial allocation for real estate, despite what my wealth managers tell me otherwise, that you should invest in equities and bonds and so on.
Yes.
But I found this, it's paid me dividends in the last 20 years or so. And plus, I think when we had capital gains coming out of an exit of the property, it's also sealed the decision for me to kind of necessarily invest in property. And we hunted around and we zeroed in on this in the span of about, 2 months.
That was a quick decision in 2 months.
Yeah.
People spend at least a year, in scouting properties, etc. So what drew you instantly to this property?
I think we live pretty close by. We live in Sine. I've been there for 20 years plus now. And we know this place. We know the suburb of Chembur.
Right.
And we hunted around. So we zeroed into the suburb first and then looked at about 8-10 properties in a span of about 3 weeks.
Wow.
And then we stumbled upon this, and I think it was one of a kind in terms of the property. I think the kind of size, the land parcel, the greenery around this.
Yeah.
And this place has been green forever. So I think that's kind of sealed the decision for us.
Tell me more about your family. Who all are coming here, and what was the most attractive spot for them when they came and they said, "Ab to yahi chalega."
I think family is 2 kids, both are out abroad for graduation. So we just 2 of us now.
Oh,
Oxford
empty
last-
nesters.
Yeah, earlier this year. But I think she was part of the decision. So she came and saw the property once we kind of zeroed in on something. I think we are used to a little bit of space even where we live. We saw this as a bigger space. And second was, of course, the flat itself. It was reasonably done and reasonable size for us. So I think we thought we'll take a chance.
I think it's so important for an architect and for a developer to look at space maximization.
Yep.
Because even though you have lived in Bombay for over 20 years, but if you have lived anywhere else and if you've studied in Bengaluru and Pilani, these states have really palatial properties. I'm from Delhi. And I've always seen
I can imagine.
houses that are very huge. So when you come to a Bombay, anyways you get a small square foot measurement. और उसमें भी to think कि भाई सारे कमरे एक से निकल आए and everything is proper. It's a tough one. So what was very important for you when you looked at space? Was it the kitchen? Was it the master bedroom? Which area of the house you wanted more space for?
I think when I look at, whether it's for myself or as an investment, we have to look at how a resident would look at it. In this case, it was an investment, but still, it has to be attractive enough for anybody to live in. I think the size of each room matters. I mean, for me, the living room and the bedrooms primarily. Kitchen should be functional. The flat had large windows overlooking the garden for all the bedrooms and the hall.
Lovely.
I'm used to a place where I can actually at some point of time I could see the sunset and the sunrise from my house.
Right.
That's the kind of property I lived in. So I think we're used to a view. Obviously in Chembur you can't have a sea view, so you had a garden view and greenery view. That was interesting for us. And I think the size of the flat, some of the other flats that we looked at was a little shrunk in size. So I think we wanted a minimum square footage for the house itself. So I think that helped us to kind of zero in on this.
I've lived in Chembur for 6 years. I've only recently moved out of Chembur. But one of the things that always attracted me towards Chembur, of course, other than the people, is there's greenery. The roads are still wide. And since you've been here longer than I have been, I'm seeing such rapid transport accessibility development that sort of looks to me as a game changer in the next coming 2-3 years. How have you seen this area develop in the last few years?
I think dramatic, I would think. I think I hunted for a property in Chembur in 2012. I decided against it at that time.
Okay.
I regretted the decision. So the last 5 years has been transformative in Chembur. The roads, potentially the metro coming in the next couple of years, I guess. The mono happening.
Right.
And Eastern Freeway, the ACLR. KC connector. I think it's become a focal point of infrastructure, it appears to be, for public transport. And this place, again, this particular property is again pretty close to many of these.
Yeah.
I think it's going to continue. I think the metro kicks in. So I think there's an upside to it in terms of infra. Even then, I mean, I think 70% of the work is done, 30% is yet to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
How South Indian are you? Very? Or are you a Mumbai South Indian? Or, are you a complete convert into a Mumbaiker?
I'm not, somewhere halfway through.
Yeah, this Chembur that way is very convenient.
I was raised in Tamil Nadu, so I'm a migrant in that sense.
Okay.
So I was not born here. But I think my food habits are still South Indian.
All right.
My wife buys vegetables from Chembur sometimes, or from Matunga. I think these are the two choices that we have. So I think this makes a lot of sense.
I lived in Bengaluru. And there I lived for 4 years and I got used to my filter coffee.
Yeah.
And when I got here, one of the things I asked my friends was, where are the South Indian shops and where can I get my filter coffee? And so from that point of view, there was a little comfort factor.
Absolutely.
That, I'm getting my batter, I'm getting my South Indian filter coffee, etc., spices. But all right, moving the discussion a little towards what you do, which is asset management, wealth management, financial sector, advisory, etc. What is it that people should look for when they are looking at a flat for investment? And what should they be looking for when they're looking at making it their home? Should the parameters be different?
It's not significantly different. I think even if you look for investment, ultimately you want to exit. So it has to be attractive to a resident.
Right.
If you want to rent out, it's to be attractive to a resident. So I think most of it is the same. The time frames could be different. If you're going to live there, probably you're going to live there for 10-20 years. If you're going to have it as an investment, probably it's a 5, 6, 7 years kind of time frame, right? So I think excluding the time horizon, I think pretty much it's pretty much the same. So that's the way I looked at all my investments in properties in the last 2-3 decades, I would say. So I think it's not very different. So the same transport, location, and what have you, the flat, the amenities, the space, same stuff.
Do you see yourself living in Bombay?
For the next 10 years, yes.
Lovely. All right.
So that's really what we're looking at. And potentially one of the things that we could even consider this property is that now we are empty nesters.
No.
And we thought we'll move to a smaller home at some point of time. That was one of the consideration that when we chose this property, is that we could actually come here and live here probably 5 years down the line.
Inside the home we have spoken about. What in the outside space attracts you about this property?
It's a large property. The ground space is pretty good, the way it's planned out.
Right.
Second is, I think, what we were assured was that the vegetation around this place is going to be maintained. So, and this plot for us has been green forever. When you look at the Google map and the drone shot of this place, you figure out that there is a large green space in Chembur, which I can't see anywhere till Borivali. It's one of a kind, and we thought that it's a fantastic place to kind of, and we respect open spaces and green spaces. So I think that's one of the big things for us.
Even as we sit here and chat, I could hear the birds chirping, which is so unlikely in Mumbai. How close are you to nature, and what do you enjoy most about your property when you're free?
We look for nature when we go on vacations. That's pretty much it. In our own properties, we are fortunate enough to have a slice of nature. Every time we step out of the house, it's a bonus. So we have these. We can take the vacation in small doses on a daily basis. And then one big thing is you go to the mountains or you go to the beaches. I think it's refreshing. It kind of energizes somebody when you take a walk surrounded by nature, like the sound of the birds or for the matter, water or just greenery.
I think you create an oasis for yourself in the city life, because unfortunately you can't move out of the city till the time you're working, because opportunities are in the city, and then you look for that serenity and peace somewhere around your home, in your home. So from that point of view, I understand why greenery is so important, because otherwise we live in a concrete jungle. So yeah. But one of the things also about Chembur which sort of attracts me is that overall it is very green. And there's a beautiful golf course here. And there's a mini golf putting green here as well. Do you play golf?
No, I don't.
You have plans?
I tried my hand at some point of time, and the first time I did it was in Scottsdale.
Oh.
It's one of the best golf courses in the world. But yeah, so I don't play golf as a practice.
Any plans to play golf? Now that it's only you and Mrs. Subramanian who are...
I have a putting set, I have balls, I have some clubs as well.
Okay.
But I've never used them. So probably maybe there's a chance, yeah.
All right. When we talk about this property as an investment, what were you thinking so many years back when you thought about investing in properties in general? And where do you see this particular property from the returns point of view?
I think I have a 5 to 8 year perspective horizon. So that's first thing is you should get your horizon right, and you need to then see what are the upsides in that time frame. The way I see it is, like you said, Chembur is a happening place.
Yeah.
In terms of transport network. Second, it's got social infrastructure, which is very important for any resident.
Yeah.
You've got fine arts next door. We've sent our kids to fine arts on a couple of occasions as well to kind of train them in some music and stuff.
Lovely.
You have generally green suburb. You have a great property here. And I think the upside from a capital position is significant. I still believe while it has happened in the last 5 years, I think the next 5 years will probably, it'll probably repeat it in the next 5 years as well. So I clearly see it outperforming some of the other asset classes in the next 5 years. Second, there are tax advantages of investing in property as well. So if you have capital gains, again, it makes a difference. Sure. Again, it's taxed at a different rate. I think there is more juice to be extracted, so to speak, in this asset. If you purely look at it as a financial asset.
All right, last question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with your choice?
It's too early to say. The proof of the pudding is 5 years down. But if you have to rate it today, I think the investment, even post facto, it's 7-ish, 8-ish right now as we speak. And probably it can grow up to a 10 in 5 years. We'll know.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for this wonderful conversation and taking out time for us. It was such a pleasure. And I hope you make memories in your new home. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to sign out. We'll be back soon with another interesting episode and guests to explore more of Hubtown Season in this special series, Your Nature, Your Address. Till then, take care and goodbye.